A very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to continue with the part translocation of food from leaves. In our previous classes, we have studied about the process of transpiration. We have also seen the process of wilting. In our class today, we are going to start with the part translocation of food substances. Sugar molecules are manufactured in the green leaves of a plant during photosynthesis. We all know that plants, they are autotrophic in nature because they are carrying out the most important phenomenon or a process, that is photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means to produce. That means light, with the help of light, green plants, they are producing something, they are preparing something, and that is the food substance. This process of preparation of food substance is going on particularly during the daytime, and then the produced food substance need to get stored somewhere, because all 24 hours the plant do not require food and they will be storing huge amount of food for future need. So for that process, this manufactured food need to get transported from one part of the plant to another. Generally, we know that the aerial parts of the plant, they are preparing the food, particularly the green parts of the plant where chlorophyll pigment is present. They are transported throughout the plant by phloem. We have also studied in our previous classes that xylem and phloem, they are the conducting tissues. Xylem is conducting water, whereas phloem is conducting food substances. So while studying this process of translocation, here we find that particularly food substances, they are getting transported through phloem. The transport of soluble products of photosynthesis, that is the sugar molecule, is called translocation. So, the soluble food molecules, they are getting transferred from the aerial parts of the plant to the storage organ. In phloem, there is bidirectional movement of molecules. The molecules can either go towards the downward part of the plant or may go towards the top of the plant. So it depends where the food need to get stored inside the plant body. Here we find that phloem, they are helping in transfer of food substances in mass. Generally, most of the time we find that food, they are getting downward towards the root, where by the force of gravity they are moving down. Sometimes this may also happen that food molecules need to get transported to the top of the plant. Maybe the growing tip, shoot tip, they require food substances. Or maybe a flower need to be produced, and for preparation of leaf primordia, they are requiring food substances. Or a storage organ, fruit, is present at the top of the plant. So it varies from one part of the plant to another where the food need to be stored. So let us study that with the help of a live specimen. In case of this specimen, as you can see here, the root system. Here, the root system is showing how the water and minerals, they are getting transported to the top of the plant. In this particular portion, you find that it is not green in color. So obviously that part is not undergoing with the process of photosynthesis. As we are seeing the other parts of the plant, this aerial part, full aerial part, you can find they are green in color, and obviously they are undergoing with the process of photosynthesis. So the leaves, they are preparing the food substances. From the leaf, it will be going towards the down to the root portion, maybe for storage of food substances or for preparation of different leaf primordia. Like here they have formed inflorescence, the floral structures, they may need food. This is one of the sample which is showing that the food molecules, they are getting transferred and they are going towards the downward portion of a plant. I would like to show you another plant where fruits have appeared at the top of the stem. So here what will happen? Obviously the leaves, they are preparing the food substances and that will get transported to the top of the plant. As we were discussing, in both the cases you find in one place, you may say that yes, the food substances, they are coming towards the downward portion of the plant. That is through phloem, the food molecules are coming towards the end, towards the base due to gravity. Whereas in this plant, we find that fruits are present towards the top. And if you observe minutely, you can understand the fruits are bulbous structure where they are storing some amount of food substances. So obviously, the green leaves who are preparing the food substances, that must pass to the tip of this particular branch where the fruits are present. This is what is called translocation. Once again, if we recap the definition, It is the transfer of food molecules from the area where they are being produced to the area where they are getting stored. The storage area can be towards the base of the plant or it can be towards the top of the plant. It depends. As you have already studied, phloem has cells called sieve tubes which are placed one above the other to form long tubes through which food is transported. In our previous classes, while studying the different structures of conducting tissue, we have seen that sieve tubes, they are the most important part of the phloem and overall phloem tissue. And what we find that one cell, above that another cell, above that another cell. In this way, they are forming a long column or a channel-like structure. So here these sieve plates which are present in between, they are helping in transportation of food substances either towards the downward part of the plant or maybe towards the top of the plant. And companion cells are present just beside the sieve tubes. The word itself is saying that they are accompanying for the process. They are helping the process to be continued. So in this way we find that food substances, they get transferred from one part of the plant to another. Translocation of food is very much related to the process of absorption as well as to the process of photosynthesis. Coming to the next very important part of the plant of this chapter, that is minerals in plant. Without minerals, can a plant survive? No, it is not possible for a plant to survive. You have already studied that plants take up essential minerals from the soil. Plants require about 17 minerals for their proper growth and development. You find that a particular plant is growing and they are growing at a proper sequence. They are having their flowering condition, they are having their fruiting condition. It is all because there is a proper way or there is a proper mechanism how it will be carried out. So what we find here that this process, when different growth and developmental procedures are going on, it's very important that all the mineral molecules are present, available there. The minerals are required not only in sufficient quantities but also in appropriate ratio. All the minerals are not required in very huge or bulk amount. Rather, some minerals are required in very less amount, some minerals are required comparatively large amount. So based on their requirement, this mineral requirement is being categorized into two types. The minerals that are required in large quantities, usually 0.2 to 0.4% of the dry weight of the plant, are called macronutrient. They have given a sort of a statement that based on their dry weight, this means what? Smaller the plant, their weight is small, so obviously their requirement will be less. Whereas in case of higher plant, in case of tall trees, they are so big, so obviously their requirement will be more. So it varies from plant to plant. But what we find that whatever is there, dry weight means other than water, we find that the weight, the mass, solid mass which they have prepared out of different molecules, that is their dry weight. So 0.2 to 0.4% of their dry weight, that is the requirement of that particular mineral. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium and magnesium are macronutrients. They have given a list of macronutrients which are very essential for a plant body to continue with their life activities. The minerals that are required in minute quantities measured in parts per million, about 0.1 to 0.02% of the dry weight of the plant, are called micronutrients. Here these micronutrients are essential but their requirement is very less. What we find that they are required only 0.1 to 0.02% of the dry weight. We can say that they are very trace amount is required by the plant body. Boron, manganese, chlorine, iron, zinc, copper, nickel and molybdenum are examples of micronutrient. Please do learn the names of micronutrient. Micronutrients are also called as trace elements. So they have given the term here trace elements. They are required in very small amount. Whatever we have studied today, let us have a sort of summarization of the whole part. In today's part, we have studied about the process of translocation of food substances. We have also studied about the requirement of different minerals inside the plant body. Both of them are very much interrelated. Just you think, if the minerals are not available, will the plant be able to photosynthesize? Will the plant be able to carry out their growth and developmental procedures? Answer is no. After the process of preparation of food substances, autotrophic plants, they are undergoing with the process of photosynthesis, they are preparing the food substance glucose. Now this glucose molecule need to be transported to different areas where they will be stored or they will be utilized. There are two conditions. One is that either they are utilized or they are being stored. Once again showing you the same thing. In case of this plant has already wilted, as you can see here. So whatever, the tipmost point of the plant is still growing. If you observe minutely, very small leaves are present to the tip of the plant. So obviously this plant here, as they are having a process of cell division, cell elongation and growth of the plant is taking place, new leaves are coming from the tip of the shoot. We find that obviously the plant requires food substances where they are having active growth and developmental processes. Some amount of food is also stored towards the root system also, because we find in the root those cells, they are not photosynthetic in nature. So obviously they require supply of food substances. There are also huge number of cells are present. So from the leaf, the food substance need to get transferred towards the base where root system is present, because these cells need to be well nourished. Whereas the tip of the shoot also, where very small leaves are present, there also the food substances need to get transferred. Whereas in case of this plant, the tip of the plant is having the storage organ and those are the fruits. So it's very important that whatever food substances are prepared by the leaves, they get transferred and they get stored here, because this is very important that in those particular places the food will be stored. The embryo which is present inside the seed, during the process of their germination, they need food. So those food need to get stored inside that particular portion. So here in this case, obviously some amount of food need to go towards the root of the plant. That is very vital. But here, as you can see, that the tip of the branch, it has got certain structures and those are very important storage organ. So there also the food need to get stored. So it depends, it varies from one plant to another plant, the requirement and their process of translocation. In case of one plant, we are getting that it must go towards the tip of the plant where we find that small leaves are present. Or it may go downward towards the root system where the cells cannot prepare their own food and they have to be well nourished. Otherwise, they cannot continue with the process of absorption of water. Whereas in case of the other plant, we find that already the storage organs, they are present towards the top of the plant or towards the end of the branch. Here, obviously, food need to get stored. So this is how we find that translocation process is supplying food to different parts of the plant. And not only that, minerals are also very important for the process to carry out. Here we find that two types of categories we have discussed today. One is called the macronutrient, where we have seen that the the nutrient molecules, they are required in comparatively larger amount as per the dry weight of the plant. Whereas in case of micronutrient, we have seen that they are required in very small or trace amount. That is also as per the dry weight of the plant. So this is all about the basic of mineral nutrients that we have studied today. There are some important activities of different minerals inside the plant body. So how these minerals are very important to us, importance of minerals in plant, and if there is a deficiency, like that particular plant is not getting a specific mineral nutrient. So what is going to happen in that case? So these things we are going to study in our next class. And so far we have studied about the process of translocation, minerals in plant, that is micronutrient and macronutrient. If you are getting any queries, please do ask. Till then, bye-bye.